Alright, hello YouTube, this is Sean here. I'm changing my channel name soon from Skippy7399 to Triggers TV, and this is one of the reasons why. This is my AK74. The last video I posted probably about a year ago, I showed this rifle and I was having an issue with the bolt carrier not going fully into battery. It would stop right about there. Wouldn't go fully into battery. I thought I had an issue with the carrier and the bolt getting hung up on one another, preventing the carrier from going fully into battery. As it turns out, I was wrong. I did actually end up sending the rifle back to Century under warranty. Took about, I want to say, 6 weeks. The two things that kind of annoy me about that are the number of things they had to do to the gun to get it working again. I mean, they did everything from check over the trunnion, adjust the rails, 2 or 3 other things I can't remember. They're on the invoice I received back. And then they test fired like 60 rounds through it. The fact that they had to do that afterwards and it wasn't done at the factories kind of brings into question their quality control. And then the box I received it back in is about 10 times nicer than the box that I got the rifle in when I purchased it. But I digress. It works. I'm happy with it. I guess that's all I can say about that. We'll do some range videos here pretty soon, get this thing back out and have some fun with it. So this is one part of Triggers TV. We'll move this out of the way and introduce you to the second part of Triggers TV, a different type of trigger, and that is the RC trigger. I have seen other guys post videos on their RC cars talking about the upgrades and hop-ups they've done, so I kind of figured I would do the same thing with this. This is obviously a Traxxas TRX-4, and I know there's one thing about this and about the other car I'm going to show you that will have the scale guys pounding on their keyboards or screaming at the screen, why did I do this? And I have a reason which I will explain at the end, but I kind of wanted to go over the truck, show you what I've done to mine, kind of get your feedback on it, your thoughts. One thing, and we'll kind of go from front to back, that I did is on the front. This is an RC 4-wheel drive Jalande bumper with an RC 4-wheel drive winch, and I believe this is a Yaw Racing anchor. This is actually mounted via a bumper mount from Shapeways. Shapeways does a lot of 3D printing. That's actually where the door handles came from, this lower bar, the windshield wipers, the snorkel grill up here, and on the other side I've also got the fuel door in the back, all from Shapeways. And one thing I will say is the wiper blades are not to scale. I'm not 100% happy with that. They're a little bit too long. But that's the bumper and winch mount in the front. And for those of you looking to add more weight, believe me, this is a good way of doing it, because this bumper alone, minus the mount, minus the winch, is 7 ounces of weight up front. So that's substantial. 2, I did do the brass portal covers, front and rear. I don't know if you can see this or not. We'll get down here a little bit lower. Here, lift the front of the truck. I have a stainless steel skid plate. I found that online. I don't remember what I paid for it. It was pretty cheap. And I painted the diff covers front and rear black. I don't know why Traxxas insists on using that gray plastic. I think it's hideous. And on the Bronco I noticed that they didn't use any gray plastic with the chrome diff covers, so someone at Traxxas finally learned. The tires on this are Axial SCX-10-2 ready to run and kit tires, the BF Goodrich's. I wanted a more scale looking tire, and then these are actually ECX Barrage wheels. Yes, they are plastic. Yes, they're glued on. No, I don't care about that. It doesn't bother me in the least. It actually handles pretty well. The mud flaps I found online, front and rear. I think that adds quite a bit of look to the truck. I don't know what it is about mud flaps, but I like them. You'll get a better look at these when I take the body off, but in the front and rear I have RC four-wheel drive 90mm Old Man Emu shocks. They're more scale shock, and first, I don't know why I like the way the yellow looks against the blue body, which obviously you can see I custom painted blue. This is a Tamiya blue with the white roof. A couple of Proline accessories up top here. Some sand ladders, the cooler stuff. On the back, I took off the original Traxxas bumper and put on this swing away spare tire carrier bumper with D-rings. This is actually a metal bumper. The only thing I'm not too thrilled about is, in order to take it out and do the swing away, is a screw on this side. Custom tire cover. The guy who does this, or did this, doesn't make these anymore, so I literally have a one-off tire cover. I gave him the design. This is actually from a real Land Rover vehicle that I saw, a tire cover with the Land Rover logo, and then this kind of safari scene on it. And he said, no problem, I can do that. And here it is. And like I said, I do have the Shapeways fuel filler door on here. I think overall I kind of was trying to keep it as clean as possible. Oh, something I should point out. Everybody complains about the spare tire on the back of these things being heavy and causing all kinds of weight issues. Big shout out to RC Mojo from the UK for this idea. Underneath here is a 26mm sedan tire and wheel assembly with a 1.9 foam wrapped around it, and then the tire cover. So you can literally just pull this whole thing right off of here, and there's just a little tiny tire about that big on the back. So there is no weight on the back at all. Not to mention the fact that because this is now separate, that helps a lot too with getting rid of some of the body weight. I only run this with a 2-cell. I know some guys will say, oh, I run 3 cells. I don't know, I don't do it. But there you can kind of see the tire sticking in there with the cover on it. Kind of give you an idea how the mud flaps mount. These are actually kind of slick because they bolt right on. The fronts took me a little bit more brain scratching to figure out how it mounts, because it actually sits underneath the edge of the chassis rail here, but it doesn't interfere with the chassis rail. It sits in the grooves molded into the floor pan. And then of course my winch mount, or winch controller here. Get a better look at the Old Man Emu shocks. Like I said, I really like these. I like the yellow look, more scale. I don't think there's anything else I missed on this thing. The rest of it's pretty much stock. And one of the reasons I did it that way is I like the idea that I can quite literally take this car, unbolt all of these accessories that I put on it, and return it to factory if I decide I want to keep the accessories and put them on a different vehicle. So that's this one. We'll move this out of the way and say hello to the kitty, who is also intrigued by the RC cars. And now we're going to talk about this one. And for those of you with a good eye, you'll be able to tell that this is a Cross RC Demon. This is the SR4A, or the base model Demon, but highly modified. Now when you buy the Demon, this is obviously the Lexan body in the SR4A version. You get the spare tire. These are the factory tires, the what is it, Black Rocks I call them. These are G-made beadlocks. I like these because they're heavy. I think they're like 126 grams a piece, so they do add quite a bit of weight to the front and rear. But you'll notice a few things about it that aren't stock. Not necessarily on the top, but underneath. That is the axles. Now, while these are still cross axles, these are not the axles that come in the kit. These are actually HC4 axles. They're a metal axle from the HC4 military vehicle, but they literally bolted right underneath this truck in place of the factory axles. They are about 4 millimeters wider. So it did add a little bit of width, but not so much that it's actually noticeable. And then on the front, that's an RC four-wheel drive SCX10 bumper that literally, as you can kind of see there, bolted right on with two 3 millimeter bolts. I think it looks a lot better than the bumper that came with it. Gives me a nice big platform up here to put a winch, which I will eventually do when I find one. They're back ordered everywhere right now. The other thing I did, I took this out and actually did a comp with it, and broke a couple of things, but learned a little bit too. On the factory instructions, they have you mount the lower link and the upper link inboard on a single bolt that comes from the outside with a nut on the inside, front and rear on all 4 link mounts. And after my comp, I rolled it down the hill a couple times, and I believe it was this one in the front that was bent. So to prevent that from happening again, these are 50 millimeter Racing aluminum links. There's a 1 millimeter cross RC spacer at each end, a 30 millimeter screw, and then I put the upper link on the outside of the tab. This is the factory tab right here that locates everything as actually part of the chassis. And by doing that, I was literally able to strengthen this whole thing, plus I got a little bit more flex out of the front. The shocks in this kit are actually really nice. They go together well. They give you, a pretty decent amount of flex. That's fair. The body is actually, like I said, Lexan. One of the things I did is I painted it on the outside. This is yellow over white, and then on the inside of the body it's painted silver. The idea behind that being, if I scratch it, you'll see white. If I scratch it deep enough, you'll see silver, so it looks like you've gone through the paint. And on the other side, I have a brand new door and then a brand new out-of-the-box fender, which, as you can see up here, has some scratches on it and some marks. I gotta stop the cat from attacking the TRX-4 body. But that's the Demon. If you guys are looking for a Demon, crossrcus.com is the place to get it. I am kind of partial to that place because if you've bought a Cross RC truck from Cross RC US, I probably looked at the billing for it because I work there. So I'm kind of part and partial to them. The reason I went with the A is because everybody was buying the SG4Cs, the top shelf model, with the factory winch and all the other accessories in the hard body and the open doors. I liked it, but with the SGs you have to run a short pack battery underneath the like the little toolbox area in the back. This uses a standard battery that runs crossways under the cab here. So I wanted this for that look, and I kind of like it. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. The shocks, I think it's kind of funny. Something else about the shocks, the kit instructions tell you to mount it piston down. Everybody mounts them piston up. I guess I kind of like it better that way too. And then lastly, before I go, to answer the question, like I said, everybody's going to be screaming about, is why did I decal the windows on this and on the TRX-4? 3 reasons. 1, it hides all the ugly electronics inside because you're going to see that. 2, I don't really care. To me, I like the way it looks. At the comp last weekend, there was more than one vehicle that had decaled windows. And the last reason, and the biggest one, is I know it really annoys the scale guys. I did it just to annoy them, and I think it's fun that some of them get really twerked about it. But this is the Demon. There's the TRX-4. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And again, if you if you're looking for a cross RC vehicle, the instructions are pretty good as far as the kit goes. The last kit I put together was a Tamiya. Really good instructions. You know, for a fledgling company like this, some of their more detailed military vehicles are going to obviously have more parts. This was actually a pretty easy kit to build. But yeah, any questions, guys, let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.